back. So I need to secure that now with cotton embroidery, and I will put a little knot in this now, because this little knot, I won't leave a long tail though, that's the key, because this knot is going to be behind that fabric, so hopefully it won't show, and like I say, I'll keep the tail really short. So I'll just put a little knot in it. I can never knot more than twice, so it's a compulsion, and I'm going to cut that really short. Okay, so I'm going to come up at the edge of the buttonhole lace, so the outer edge of this circle, okay, and I'm just going to do tiny running stitches all the way around here to secure it. Almost invisible running stitches. You could do actually chain stitch, looks quite nice as an edging on these if you wanted to do chain stitch. So literally just secure it. But try it with chain stitch if you want. That would accentuate the edge even more. It would give you another outer ring on your edge. So you could try that. And I'm almost all the way around. Okay, so I'll go down to the back and knot it, and also just feed the end through a little way, just so that it doesn't poke out later, the tail. And now I've got a knot in it, another knot that I don't want, so that's it. And then snip it really close to the cloth, because you don't want any ends poking through there when you're finished, do you? Right, so then unpick my tacking, which can be quite difficult, because like I say, I make a rod for my own back in a way by not wanting to use anything except white or off-white, but I just can't run the risk of getting those fibres lost in here, so that's that out now. And now I'm going to trim it, and I'm going to trim it as close as I can, because I don't want any of this encroaching through any of the, because don't forget this is very lacy, so it's very holy. Holy as in not religious holy, especially not with the conversations I've been having this morning about David Beckham and Kane Dingle. Holy as in there's a lot of holes in it. You don't want anything coming through there, so snippet jar, again snippet jar. So that's how it looks on the back, okay, and that's how it looks on the front. Now I could come back and do bullion knots around there, and I most likely will. That's probably what I will do. So now I'm going to do a bumpy bit. Now to make a bumpy bit, I'll just put that to one side. I need a circle of something. Now I wouldn't use lace for this because there's going to be wadding in here, so it would come through the holes of the lace. So I'm literally just going to cut a circle of this soft white cloth. Okay, you can mark your circle out if you want, but I'm thinking I'm old enough to perhaps cut a circle without making a mess of it. We'll live in hope. Right, and I generally tend to do them for these things about the same size as if I'd drawn around that. That's a bit bigger, but never mind. Anyway, so I'm going to trim it actually, because I don't want it too big, because it would overpower this fragile surface if it was too big. So I'll just trim it a little bit. Right. And then I need normal sewing thread, like this stuff, okay. And again, I think I'll use a small needle this time though, and I'll just get some of this and thread my needle. And again, I'm not going to knot this thread, because this is just tacking at this stage. And then I'm literally just going to turn it over once and tack it all the way around. Just turning over once all the way around. When I've done this, you know, I might take it off, because I don't know that I want any bumpy bits on these, but I'll put it on just to demonstrate, and then I might leave it on, but I might also equally try and remove it later. So just one turn. There's a knot in there again. That'll hinder me pulling this tacking out, so I need to get rid of it. Right. And then fold it over again, and just do that all the way around. Now I could maybe do a chain stitch around this when I get to that stage, and that'll show you how that looks on here. But you might think, oh my days, how am I going to stitch on lace? It's such an open surface. But don't forget, you've been laying thread down with the machine, and laying that thread down gives you a base, and a substantial base for stitch. So don't worry about that. Use the threads as anchors that you've laid down on the machine wherever you can. Right, so I'm nearly all the way around now. Right, so that's that turned down all the way around. Okay. So I'm going to cut that off now, and I'm going to keep this thread in the needle, but I'm going to put a knot in it now. Now the beauty of using this cotton, this process is, I've used white. I bought new white, didn't I, to make these pieces of lace cloth. I always put loads of knots in this because it's really thin. This is off-white that I'm using now, but if I was using the same white as I made that cloth with, then you wouldn't even notice these stitches because you'd be blending in with what's going on there. So don't worry about that either. In fact, just don't worry. Worry's no good for you. It makes you ill. Right, so where am I going to put this? Bearing in mind that this is two pieces and I'm going to need to cut down there. Look around. I've got quite a substantial area there, okay, that would take a bumpy bit, but maybe not, it's too big. I don't know that I can put this anywhere that isn't going to encroach on those holes. But I'll have to do it on this one. I'll do it on this one and I'll put it there. So possibly too big, this little disc, but it will fit here. So what I'm going to do now is literally slip stitch this to the base of this lace with that normal sewing thread all the way around. Okay, just catch the edge of the little disc and back down through the lace cloth. Okay. So bear that in mind, bear in mind how much space you've got without encroaching on your holes to add things like this. I'm also kind of teasing it in a bit to make it fit, to make it a bit smaller. Because I don't want to lose anything off these holes. I'm trying to think what I've got to stitch tonight, what I need to be stitching tonight, whether I can spend all night working on these, because I'd be in heaven if I could do that. I think I might just get away with it, you know, just spending the rest of my free time today embroidering on these. I can't think of anything better. Can't think of anything I'd rather be doing. So just go all the way around. My phone just went off, I'm sorry. I keep meaning to put it on silent. So all the way around. I think I'm probably almost there. no, maybe not actually. Probably just halfway. So I would advise, for me personally, for this particular piece, I need a smaller bumpy bit, really, because this is probably going to look like a big carbuncle, like a big boil on the top of here. But we'll see, you never know, it might provide a nice contrast actually. Who knows? We won't know until we've done it, will we? And then I've also today going to show you what to do with these bits that I've took across the middle. I just actually want to look at this one. Have I got any on here? Yeah, I've got some there, so I'll probably work on this piece for that. So I'm literally just going on, I don't know where that's come from. That's the tacking, that's alright, that'll come out. So I'm not going to go all the way around, I'm going to need to leave a tiny little open bit to get my wadding into. Right, so there's my open bit, right? So now I get a little bit of wadding, this soft wadding, and I need to push it in here. So you also need to bear in mind what's going on underneath here, because you don't want to be pushing it in here and it all just falling out the bottom because it's all lacy. So you do need to find quite a solid area to add these bumpy bits, okay? So that's my wadding in now. Get hold of my needle. And continue to stitch that close now, pushing the wadding in as I go. Okay. I'll just need to just tease it in. If there's too much, just pull a bit out. That's all going to go in there, that's okay. And so to continue to secure it to this base. So even though this is a very fragile lacy fabric, it is taking this quite well, because certain areas you'll find of your cloth are very substantial and strong because of the machine stitching you've done on them. So don't for 1 minute think that you're restricted in what you can do here, because really, considering the surface, there are a lot of possibilities for embellishment. Okay, I've got an itchy eye now. Oh. Right, and go down through to the back, and then I actually quite like that now. There, I'm going to leave that there. Fasten it off, just run it through the wadding a couple of times. Okay, like that, and then cut it off. And then you've got to go back to the front and take those tacking stitches out. Which, in theory, because there's no knot in here, they should come out quite easily. In theory, that's it. Right. So I'll put that needle away and go back to my needle here that's threaded with broader. I'm not going to put a knot in it. I'm going to go to the back and I'm avoiding knots wherever possible with this lacy stuff. Always bear that in mind. And run this through a couple of times. Okay, so that's secure in the back now. And then I'm going to come up here at the very edge and I'm going to chain stitch around this. Now I'm going to get to here where there actually isn't any surface cloth, and what I'm going to have to do is take it underneath and kind of go across that gap, like make a bridge with a chain stitch. and that's okay. That's going to sit there because it's secured at the front and back. So, and then again a chain stitch, and just edge it all the way around with chain stitch. Sorry, I moved out of the thing. The bad habit I have. So just edge it and edge it and edge it with chain stitch. Now I'm also probably, almost certainly, going to put bullion knots at the edge of this as well, because it's not enough on its own for me. But you know, you can make those decisions yourself. It's very much a personal choice thing, isn't it? What appeals to one person doesn't necessarily appeal to another. There's no right or wrong. It's absolutely a personal preference situation. Now it's kind of like a cliff edge, a lot of this. The fabric kind of disappears. So you're just going to have to be inventive and bring it up through the bottom where you've secured the bumpy bit and use that bit of fabric. But it's eminently doable, absolutely doable. There. So I'm nearly all the way around now. So I've shown you how to edge the holes. I've shown you how to insert some contrasting fabric into the back. I've just there, that's a knot. I've shown you how, what's going on there? Shown you how to edge your bumpy bit. To make a bumpy bit and put it on. And I'm going to show you, there's a knot in that and I don't understand how I can't get it out. Just give me a sec. It's a knot in the loop of the last chain stitch. That's it now. Done it now. So I'm going to also show you what to do with those threads I took across. One idea for those. Okay, so that's that. So I'm nearly all the way around. Some of it is so thick. There's so much machine stitching. This actually looks really lovely. I'm really pleased I put it on here. My final chain stitch. And down through there to the back. Okay, and again to fasten it off, just go through the back of the bumpy bit. No knots, no tails, nothing. No risk of anything appearing at a later date. So I'm just going to turn off and then I'll come back and show you what I'm going to do with these legs. In fact, I might do it on there to add something extra to this piece. I might just, I'm the queen of changing my mind. So we shall see. So what's my plan for these straggly bits that I did across the middle? Well, basically it's simple. I'm going to wrap them with cotton embroidery. So you need quite a long bit of thread because you need to be able to complete the whole thing in one go, and you need a blunt needle. So thread my needle, and again I'm just going to take it through the back, through some of the machine stitching on the back to avoid a knot. That, you know, let that become a habit for you when you're working with these lacy pieces. Then you've got virtually zero chance, well you've got less chance of those knots and those tails of thread becoming really visible later on, further down the line. So a couple of times, oh see that I didn't do that tight enough so it came out. But not to worry, do it again. There. So basically I've just picked up 3 fibres there I'm going to go back and do it again, and hopefully that'll hold this time. So I'm at the top of this one. I think I need to change it in the hoop actually to make it maybe a bit closer to the edge in the hoop, to make it easier to do without getting cramp in my hand or anything. Right, so bring it up to the left of the first group. Okay, and I'm going to keep my finger under it because then it's easier to wrap. It's the threads are still, and you're literally just going to wrap. Now be careful because you can get a spiralling going on and it doesn't wrap it properly if you do that. I mean, it's still acceptable, but the more you practice, the easier it'll be for you to make sure that each separate wrap, each wrap lies flat under the one before it. And it just adds an unusual effect within the holes. Something probably a little bit unexpected. Just wrap it all the way down to the bottom. And I would over wrap as opposed to under wrap when I get to the bottom. I would do it till it was really quite tight, and then there's less chance for it unravelling and not lying as flat as it is here. The tighter you do it when you get to the bottom. So that's that one. Now it probably looks as if I'm at the bottom, and I am at the bottom, but I'm just going to try and squeeze in a couple more really low down, okay? And then I go through to the back, and I'm going to fasten it off before I start the next one because that makes it even more secure, okay? So I'm going to put this knot in, but then I'm going to also thread it through the back of this bumpy bit so that I haven't got a tail. Okay, so that's that. So now to start the next one, I'll start it in exactly the same way by going through, picking up some threads on the back, like that, not leaving a long tail, and then doing that again. Okay, and I'm going to do it again because I just got a feeling that it wasn't perhaps as secure as it could be, and then just do exactly the same thing again on this. So bring it up to the left and just wrap with my finger underneath all the way down. So this adds a lovely surface. It's almost like a withdrawn thread surface, if you will, but they're obviously quite thick because there's machine thread laid down there, and you're adding cotton embroidery to the top of those. So try and coax them up so they lie flat. Like that. And again, I'm going to go all the way to the bottom. And do it a couple of extra times when I get to the bottom. Couple more. There, and then again go through to the back, and can you see it gives them more body? They're kind of like standing up a bit now, they're more raised, aren't they? And then feed it, knot it first actually, and then feed it through the back. That's only a tiny knot when I do it like that, and then just feed it through the back of this and through there and fasten it off again. Okay, now I've noticed as well that over here I've got like a stray thread going across diagonally. I'm going to do it to that one as well. So this is what I mean, you can go on and on and on embellishing these forever and a day. But as long as you see things that you think would benefit from embellishing, then make those decisions and just do it. There's no time limit on any of this. And to me, it's just pleasure. It's just pure pleasure. Now this one's a lot finer, so I'll have to be a lot more careful with this so it doesn't snap. And again. Be careful not to loop it over, because that would cause a knot. This one's not taking any time at all because it's quite short in comparison to the others. There. Okay. So I mean, that to me, it's just lovely. What a difference that's made to that surface next to that bumpy bit. It's lovely. So knock yourselves out. You've got plenty to be going on with, haven't you, till I come back. You can make snippet cloth, sorry, I kicked the thing. You can make snippet cloth, you can work on these, you can embellish. Again, I'm just going to feed it through the back a couple of times to finish it off. And I'm not going to leave any kind of tail. So there you go, 3, 4 ideas for embellishing it. I mean, that's just... It's almost like wire. It stands up so proud. It's just lovely. Okay.